All right.
Hello, hello, hello.
This is going to be so much fun. I want to thank you for joining me in this little Ask 20 Anything series. And we got 30 minutes. Let's do it.
All right. So I have a few things written down, interestingly enough. Um, I'd like to explore confusion with you.
Oh, one of my favorites. Tell me more.
It just seems as though it comes and goes, or I'm wondering why and how the mind or the body or both need it to rise in consciousness.
I suspect in Genesis, I'm working on a course in Genesis right now, which means I'm just having a shit ton of fun exploring Genesis, that it wasn't pre-planned. Like, all right, I've got the blueprint, day one to day seven. Hey, good morning. It's day one. Let's do this. And without being 100% human and 100% divine, for survival, we want to know everything. We want to understand everything. We want to organize everything. We want to control everything. And the divine part of us just gets to continuously discover, expand, explore. And without confusion, uh, it just seems like humans will settle for a bumper sticker about life instead of the car that it's attached to. Ask me again. We'll see what other answers show up. Or ask me something else. This is good.
Well, I want to give you a little. So I was diving into literally 2 minutes before the call, Genesis 6:14, on making an ark.
Yeah, nice.
So it's just interesting that because I had no idea you're doing a course on Genesis, and obviously it's just,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can
exactly.
take a
Well,
picture of my
yeah.
paper and it's like, wow. So,
If we try to plan it all out, we can't make up that I'm named after John the Baptist, the one that makes up the one that does violence to his desires, that I live in Eltham, which means the home or village of God. We live in the potter's house, literally made of mud by a potter. The story continues to show up, and I'm constantly amazed by it. I'm willing to continuously expand and demolish my models. And models are how we make it through the day. This equals that. This is what comes next. This is how this correlates, and then we think this is how things are caused. And the average person, including me, we get wobbly. Confusion is basically mental wobbliness. But I'll go to the gym today and I'll be a little wobbly because I'll exercise to the point of failure with each exercise on the machine. It's how an eagle flies in the air. It's how we learn how to ride a bicycle. It's how we learn it's why babies walk before they can stand. You can watch them go through the motions of walking and running before they stand. But if they're unwilling to get wobbly, uh, they're just continual to lay in the little prison that they live in. What do they call them? Playpens, right?
iPads, yeah, yeah. So confusion is a form of wobbliness.
As
Is
far as I can tell.
that a good,
Great question.
um, you kind of you actually touched on another question, but I'm going to ask this other question before that question. I'd like to know more about how you combine NLP, native wisdom, and Neville in how you teach. How does it affect it, or how does it impress upon it?
Did you ask how or why? I just lost the question.
How was the,
I don't, I don't know. Yeah, and watch the answer show up, right? So this is what we talk about in the upside. So I go into, I don't know, and then it hits me. Whenever I was walking with a walking stick, I was walking with my legs primarily directing the action. In other words, every step was a concerted effort to move through this world as a controlled fall, which is what everyone does when they get tired. But that's how I started the day. As I started experimenting more with coming from the core, I discovered walking from the core again, something that I lost when my hip was hurt and we were in lockdown. I just lost it, and I didn't know I lost it. And so from the core, in good Tai Chi practice, they say when the core moves, everything moves, and nothing moves without the core. And the core of me is utterly fascinated with nature. Nature to me is just divine expression and expansion. NLP being the study of the human experience, the breadcrumbs left behind by human experience. And this Neville Goddard guy, wow, what an interesting fella. He happened to take human experience and notice how it was mapped out scripturally. And he did it from experience. He just didn't make shit up as he went along. He made up ways to explain the shit as he went along. And the three together are just what I adore besides, Victoria, my puppies, food, frolicking in the meadow.
So with how have you evolved in your teaching over the years?
Wow. My biggest personal evolution is hiding less, and I still hide too much. And hiding less means I'm less willing to try to water it down and fit it in. And I noticed Neville did this. If you look at some of his early bits, he tried to explain things in the terms of the time. And I wonder if all teachers do this and some just stay there, because when you explain things in the terms of your time, the time in history, what the popular things are, everyone goes, oh my God, it is like gravity, or it is like radio waves, or it is like whatever the new thing is, the subatomic bullshit stuff. I mean, it's all fascinating science, but when you're willing to step outside of, hey, we're going to use the same terms that everyone else is using, and start to reveal, this is my uniqueness. This is what I am noticing. What I'm noticing about me now is, I'm just speaking it as I experience it now. So I'm not watering it down, playing it safe, or hiding. My current thing with hiding is I've just been playing way too small. And I'm at this point building the structures, because I love building structures. That'll enable me to play and dance with a lot more people, but still maintain the intimacy that we have in groups like Remarkable, Dream Driven Day, and all that stuff. So it's a new thing for me. I'll give you another example. Before, I thought the big deal was manifestingmasterycourse.com. Get them to buy a $7 27, get them up to the 97. At this point, I'm considering the beginning point is MMC and Remarkable. That's the beginning, not the end. So, and it's not quote unquote the financials. It's, if I just sell you a book that you semi-read and it's in your background and you don't bother printing it out, I'm almost like Reddit. But if I can dance with you, especially in today's culture, the information age is so dead now because of the overwhelm. Everyone's producing this AI crap. And AI does have its purpose. It's a screwdriver in a toolbox. But there's so much data now. And as people, what we're starving for is dance. And so my whole thing is, hey, if you do MMC, you can dance with us once a week on an update. You can do Remarkable. Hey, I'm here pretty much any time. Post something, poke me, whatever. You're in. But I think there's a part of the evolution where I was willing before to contribute to the amount of data in the world and hopefully put something good out. To now it's like, I put out 3.9 million listens on the podcast, almost 2 million on the YouTubes. This is all good shit, but come on and dance. Without dance, there's no point.
So you want more now?
Yeah. And I'm ready for it. I think I grew up, about a block away was the Johnson triplets. And mom didn't just have three triplets, she had five other kids. And my mom could handle one barely. Yeah, Mrs. Johnson had the capacity to handle triplets and five others. I think it was five. But it was like her house was nuts, but she could do it. My mom's house was nuts and she could do it. But they both had different capacities, as moms. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but there's definitely my capacities, and hungers have changed.
So you've expanded.
Totally.
What do you see or feel in the foreseeable future with your programs?
Say again?
What do you see or feel in the foreseeable future with your programs?
Hmm. Obviously a lot of opportunities for dance, but I see even like a restructuring with, I, I've got a little project I'm working on. It's going to be a little monthly book club. Y'all in Remarkable will get it as a bonus bid. Uh, but it's something where I can just go, hey, here's a little, I don't know, 35-page book I wrote this month. Maybe I'll toss in a bonus for something. Uh, but have an ongoing, commitment kind of thing. You pay this much a month, you have the book of the month club kind of thing. And, I think that's an interesting thing because it basically invites me to release, uh, a cool little product a month. It looks like it's going to be in the form of an ebook, but also inviting the discussion around that because, I think the last thing I officially have released that I've written was 2015. And it was about 2018. We unleashed Dream Driven Day. That's all good. I don't want to do another 30-day program. We've got Destiny, which, just will be a unique offering every time we do it. Maybe we'll do a 21-day thing. I don't know. But I'm right now drawn to this whole thing of like, what if we could get 1,000 people in a group, put up a Facebook group for it. It's the Book of the Month Club. Uh, you get it on autopilot and, you can show up here anytime and talk about any of the issues and, just let it rip to just see what happens there. And of course, some of those people will be in other things and some won't. But I think it's a nice way to sort of invite the herd to become a pack.
How, well, I don't know how I want to answer. I don't know how I want to ask the question. Uh, Why does it seem, within the groups, within the community, within everything that I would say Neville, NLP, and Native encompasses, why does it seem so hard to get to the end in imagination or continue in, I would say, as an active imaginer, as opposed to going passive?
Hmm. I notice all day long. So I get the emails from folks that say things like, why did this happen? I didn't imagine it. And a little bit of the chat reveals that they accepted something as true and it just grew. So they let a plant be in their garden and they let the plant grow in the garden. And pretty soon they need to pay $10,000 to a tree guy to come in and cut the damn thing out.
Mm.
And that can be good, bad, or indifferent, you know? A good tree that's big but too close to the house isn't a good tree. Uh, and then it becomes a concern. You were just on that call we did where it started with, and this is going to echo into some other stuff. The problems are universal. Desires are unique. And everyone, quote unquote, that I talk to, everyone, will admit to a money problem, a health problem, and a relationship problem. And then there are those who pretend they don't have any of the three, and I just have a giggle because if they ramble long enough, they'll tell me about them. Sort of like the homeless lady that tells me about her husband's office. I just stand there and talk to her, and after about 10 minutes, she's telling me, my husband went to his office. So you're not homeless. You got an office, right? It's funny to me because we really get to notice, we get to admit to what we've admitted in. And, so people will admit problems because problems are a mock way to join a community. Because if you've got a money problem and I got a money problem, we can talk about money problems or just sit in the silence of money problems. Same thing with relationships. I hear people all the time talk about their spouses at the pool. They remark to me about, I must have someone really special, and I do. And I am someone really special. When we come from the other side of the coin, where every desire has its own plan and power, we have to notice what is a desire. And a desire is unique to you. When people tell me, I want to be a millionaire. In other words, you want to solve a money problem, right? And if I listen to them long enough, they'll tell me all the money problems. On the other hand, I've got a tiny little question. Let me make sure I say this exactly right because it's so good. This is going in a book, so I'm going to say it the same way. Not there. Unbelievable. I don't have it in front of me. What would $1 million give you? What would you do then? This takes us right into the realm of desire. I'd write my book. I'd travel the world. Well, start imagining what has you write a book. Imagine what has you, start traveling. I had a fella come here years ago. He says, I'm imagining being in your garden. And he's been here twice. But in the beginning, I said, do you have a passport? I never thought of it. You might want to get one. Got his passport. Hey, do you have a visa? What do I need that for? Well, because you're entering into a foreign country. He never thought of those things. And when I mentioned them, he ran with them. Some people want to build a business. All right. Let's chat a little bit. It's these tiny little things that we get to notice. If we're surrendering to a desire, desires actually have little tiny mouse steps inside, little innocent, trusting steps we get to take. And when we allow ourselves to do that even, we notice, I'm on a desire. Yeah, I'm actually exploring. I had a lady who wanted to travel, and she manifested luggage at a yard sale or an estate sale. Somebody died. And she didn't make that person die, but she sure as shit set up the circumstance for her to drive down a weird road that she never takes and pick up luggage at a price that was ridiculous. It's just funny the way that things work out when we allow ourselves to come from, I've got a unique desire. My desire is to travel. And you start imagining travel, and then, hey, I find myself getting a suitcase. I find myself having the money to get a passport. I find myself lost in the process, in the play of the desire.
Do you think the problems are distractions?
I think we serve them up to ourselves. So problems repeat. From what I can tell, the nature of thinking is repetition. If we repeat a thought often enough, it becomes true. Yeah, whatever. I mean, look at the last couple of years. It's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we could pull that out of any slice of time in history. Look at the past couple of years. People repeat things enough, they accept them as true, and their behavior changes. And it's always problems that people accept passively as true. On the other hand, the nature of perception and the nature of imagination both are fueled by novelty. And when we start to notice and engage in novelty, we don't have to wait for it. I can take a walk in the garden with Victoria this morning, and I'll do that between my calls. I got another call right after ours, but I got a little break. And we'll take a little walk in the garden, and we'll notice the uniqueness, the differences of the day in the garden already. When I go to the gym, I'll notice the uniquenesses, the differences in my muscles as I exercise. That not only prevents injury, but it also maximizes the results. And we live in a world where people go, oh, this is the one I do 55 pounds and 12 reps. And all they do is focus on the numbers, the repetition. And then they get tired of going to the gym. For me, the gym is a never-ending experience of 30 to 35 minutes, 3 times a week of discovering my body again. And that appears to be the nature of desire. And imagination. And perception. Thank you. I can't do this on my own. You said yes. Actually, more please. We both said more please. And here we are exploring more of what's pleasing. And as far as I can tell, talk about novelty. Nobody's talked about this before. At least in this combination. And I'm not being arrogant. I'm just saying when two people actually dance, you and I are dancing, we're not just doing, oh, here's the standard fucking interview. Oh, God, I couldn't do that. I'm up at 3 a.m. Ooh, I'm already excited. Yeah, you're stopping me from sleeping. Thanks. Right?
It's interesting because as you're speaking, and this is why I love Dream Driven Day. When you teach, for those of you that haven't done as many courses as I have, or are on the fence, or out there considering it, what I love that happens in my physical body is I can feel your words go right to left inside my brain. And there's like this, what's that thing you put on a piano and you're supposed to learn music and it goes back and forth? That like thing that, like a pendulum almost.
So, yeah. Like a metronome. Yes.
Yeah. That thing. So I feel that when you teach, and I feel that, in your flow, as I ask a question and you answer.
I notice questions can come from the head or the heart. And if I attempt to answer the question without exploring the questioner, it becomes a head thing, maybe a heart thing. But the dance of head, heart, belly, and I've got to upgrade this website, the old manifestingtothemax.com, the head, heart, belly bit, that's the dance of us. When somebody's really dancing, their head, their heart, and their bellies are all going. But when someone's at war, you're going to see rigidity. Mm-hmm. And anytime we're on a live call, whether it's this, this is just for fun, whether it's a one-on-one, those are just for fun too, or group calls, which are again for fun, but group fun, whenever we can allow and invite dance to show up. And dance is always novel. Dance is always unique. It's not repeating the same moves. It's you and I, me and Victoria, whoever else is on the call, we get to explore movement. Not just, here's my move, here's your move, here's my move, here's your move. We get to explore movement. And when there's real movement, the ripples, oh my God. Yeah, this is what I live for. And this is, without it, for me, it's starvation.
Mm.
And I, from what I can tell, people are starving because they're going into thinking, repetition, falling asleep, bumper stickers, and they could have the whole car. Uh, wow. Why not?
I really liked what you said when you said, when we admitted to what we have admitted in. I don't even know if you're aware that you said
Yes.
it, but, um, wow. And we were talking about passive or active imagination. And, maybe this is our last question. I don't know our time. Um, how would you say admitting in, um, to the riots, October 26th, was 1989,
Yeah.
has led or, ignited, fueled, uh, made the way for all of the teachings that have come from you since then, or come through you?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the quote unquote, one of the big deals from that night was what most people call the near death experience. Yeah, we die. When we do, we poop and shit our pants. Wow. How cool is that? And then if you come back, you get to go, man, I pooped and shit my pants and I've got a long night ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Right. Uh, in my life, obviously that's a significant event and it's coming up later this month, the anniversary of all that. And, I think among other things, I imagined up something that not only gave me street cred, but also invited me to explore where I really long to explore. In other words, it's, yeah, exploring behavior and consciousness has always been a fascinating thing to me, even as a little boy. And I get, to protect and serve and help the world be a better place. It was also why I became a cop. Quote unquote, selling out for money, going to the prison thing, just to have a nice steady job, health benefits, retirement, all that bullshit. There's all those little sides of the coin. But I look at anything and, with these furnaces of affliction, we give ourselves these along the way. And I wouldn't change a drop of it. It doesn't feel like it happened to me anymore. It actually feels like part of a story I get to tell. But it really is a moment where I get, you brought this up in a call. Why do I do what I do? I free hostages. And I see people, and I love that Neville talked about the jail cell. Because people all the time are doing whatever they can to give themselves a prettier jail cell. Yeah, stockpile up on ciggies, get an extra blanket, have someone, double stuff your pillow. I've seen all this stuff actually in the prison. But you didn't come here to have a prettier jail cell. You came here to, to have adventures, to be the king of the kingdom and not be stuck in the castle. And, so for me, in a way, it was a very significant event. It doesn't haunt me anymore. It had in different ways over the years. But, I do notice when I get frustrated, uh, I invite people to feel more. What frustrates me is people who want to hide from feeling. And we get to feel the disappointments a little more. Disappointments just come from adequate planning. We get to feel the highs a bit more too. But if we retreat into the head, if we make that little journey back and pull away from our experience, then all we have are bumper stickers about the experience, observations about the experience. And they can be useful, but when we have observations about kissing more than we're kissing, it's just not fun anymore. And I really, my hidden agenda is more playtime, more playmates. I just want people to have more fun. I really do believe, Koroll, that you and I and everyone I meet is God having the adventure of a lifetime. And we settle for a journey of struggles and learning lessons and all this stuff. And what we came here to do, of course, we're going to learn stuff. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm fascinated with everything. But being God having the adventure of a lifetime, really having the opportunity, giving yourself the opportunity to do that. And I'll take it right back to your question. There's a part of me that said, never again. Yeah, I just never again. And of course I sold out again a couple times, but I sold out less and less. And I believe that there comes a point, and this goes back to that rational magical chart. We've got to be able to say no. Not doing that anymore. What I'm going to do is step a lot more into I don't know. In other words, I get to discover. I said no to the predictable paycheck, retirement, schedule, terrain. And I said more please to the absolutely unpredictable and wild. Because in 1989, I could have never guessed 90% of the adventures that I've been on, including this one. So if we had 3 or so more minutes, let's go a few minutes over, how would we button this up?
I have tears in my eyes.
I have succeeded in my mission. People ask at the pool, what do you do? I make middle-aged women cry. Young ones too, even a couple old ones. And the average guy, I can kick them in the guts easy. So yeah, thank you. Go for it.
I lead a pretty different life on a daily basis. I would say no day is the same.
Yeah.
And I came to you because of a mental jail cell, a mental hostage situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted freedom from the interior, and I had already had a lot from yoga practice and meditation and different things with that. So, but I needed different, and I needed permission. I needed permission to go to the next step, and I needed permission to play again because I had done all the grown-up stuff. So I feel like coming full circle from when I started with you, which I think is over 3 years at this point. I don't know. Wow. I would say I haven't taken a break from your work because I don't feel like or from my work with your work, right? I feel like I want more, please. I want more magical. I want more play. I want more imagination. I want to know what's possible, like within, now that my parameters have expanded, right? Like my self-imposed perceptions or societal or learned behaviors, whatever we want to call what happens to us growing up or in adulthood. I'm right and you're wrong. Yeah. So I think too, I think just our whole conversation over the past 30 minutes is a beautiful summary um, to us both and what
Yeah.
you do. And, um, I, I'm, I'm one of your success stories, I would say. But, yeah, I don't, I, I don't know another way to.
I noticed your ratio of repetition to uh, unique has changed tremendously. And it's not like you were the queen of repetition before, but we all have a ratio that we stick with for a while in life. And allowing that ratio to change, it really helps us notice the dynamicness of the divine that we are. Because as divine beings, we're very dynamic, and we're 100% human and 100% divine. And here to me is the kicker. When my humanity and divinity can dance with yours, whether it's one-on-one or in a group call or in comments even. And comments are the slowest thing. God, they just, but when we can invite a real-time dance, why would we ever take a break? It's like saying, oh, I'm going to take a break from feeling good. Oh, I'm going to take a break from breathing. Oh, I'm going to take a break from sunshine. Why?
Mm.
For me, my dance is only possible with you and you and you and you. Because without y'all, I've got a dance going on, but it's not the same as when we're dancing together and the ratcheting up occurs. The eagles all fly higher together. I got a roll. I love you, Koroll. I want to thank you so much for your share and play today. And I'll be getting this up on the YouTubes and podcasties and stuff.
And I want to thank you for the mitzvah. And if you don't know what mitzvah is, you can go and Google it.
I should know, and I might know, but I'll probably find some more joy in looking up the variousness and the history of it too. As you know. Yeah.
You are prana to this world.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now you're doing my job.
It's okay.
That's
I'll give you gifts.
Have a lovely day, Koroll. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.